Hi, LinkedIn land. So, Sharika Sanders here again to talk about cross training for this week's Talk About It Thursday. So, cross training is very important because it allows employees to take time off. It eliminates single points of failure, and it also gets rid of that excuse of doing things a certain way because that's how they've always been done. So cross training is very important within a team because it gives other employees the additional experience and really makes them more marketable. So, one of the main things with cross training is documenting processes. So, last week I talked about the importance of documenting your processes. Now, that also plays a very important role in cross training because when your processes are documented, then you can take that documented process and provide it to another team member and have them go through that process. That's your way of checking to see if it really works. Will that person have additional questions? Will someone have to come over and sit with them and help them out? It helps to find those different gaps that may have been missing with the initial recording of the process doc. So cross training can really help to kind of kill two birds with one stone. So you have the process that's now documented, and then you can now take that process and pass it on to another employee where they can either take over that process or help out with that process or however you want it to work for you. So I would advise when that new employee is going through the process or the process is new to the employee, when they're going through that process, to have someone that's not the person who normally does the process to sit with them. So that can be a manager, it can be another member of the team. Hopefully, there is someone else that knows how to do this particular skill set outside of just one person, but have someone else to sit with them. Why? Because if the person who normally does that particular skill or that particular task sits with them, they're going to show them the exact same way that they do it and may provide whatever reasoning for why it needs to be done their way. And they could be completely off base. But when new people sit with a process and once they learn the different steps and go through it, then they can now say, well, you know what if we try this? Or this could probably be efficient if we automate something. But cross training really helps when you have one person who's been doing a process, the same process for an extended period of time, because then they get stuck in their habit and they say, well, there's no other way to do this, when there probably really is. You just need another set of eyes to look at it. So cross training really does help with that. And if you are a hands on leader, then you now have a new way that you have learned how to do something as well. It could be a process that you didn't know how to complete or one that you just now are more familiar with. So it also, I believe, helps with expanding education throughout the team. And then how you can implement the cross training is once you've documented the process, you're comfortable with the different steps within that process, and you know that someone else can now take that document and repeat those steps, have them switch duties for a while. If it's particular tasks that's done often, then you can maybe try it for just a week. But you want the person who's now learning that skill to get more experience than just, oh, I did it this one time. You want them to have the opportunity to go through it, to have errors, to have mistakes, any of those things, while the person who's more experienced is still there so that they can answer questions. But then that person who has more experience with the process can go on vacation or leave the company, go get a promotion, whatever it is that they need to do. And you now have other people who can take that process and take control and start either implement it as part of their day to day, or it could be a set of processes that you give to a new employee if you're expanding your team. So cross training is very important. It is painful for the team, or they think it is, but it tends to be something that they all really appreciate after they've learned how to do the additional skills. Because what you tend to find is that employees can become more comfortable with their positions and even like what they're doing more, and they're no longer bored, and now they actually have to pay attention to what they're doing and can catch various errors or mistakes that were being looked over before because you had the same person doing the same thing day in and day out. So that's my tidbit on cross training. I hope you were able to take a couple of these tips and can implement them within your teams. You have any questions, concerns, whatever you want to call it, feel free, reach out to me, send me a DM. I'll be more than happy to help. See ya.